Hey gang, in this video we're going to talk about 4 ways that constipation can lead to weight gain. And I think 3 of those ways are totally going to freak you out. I can't wait.
TC Hale is not a doctor and does not claim to be a doctor or licensed in any type of medical field. Don't be an idiot and use anything heard on the show as medical advice. This information should be used for educational purposes only, and you should contact your doctor for any medical advice. Now get off me.
When we don't poop, it doesn't just disintegrate. You know, poop is not magic. Where do you think it's going? If it's not going out the back door like it's supposed to, then the stool will accumulate. And there's a lot of good science now that can indicate that a lot of people have somewhere between 5 and 20 pounds or more of fecal matter in their intestinal tract at any given time. There's a reason we poop. This is how the body takes out the trash. Why wouldn't you want to take out the trash? So if you're really dealing with a lot of constipation issues, be sure to check our description below so that you can watch our Understanding Constipation video. You're really going to want to understand the underlying causes of constipation. If you're just using like constipation remedies, that's usually not going to work, because one remedy that can improve constipation for one person can make another person worse if their constipation has a different underlying cause. So you really don't want to just use a remedy. You want to understand what's causing your constipation so that you can work on that particular underlying cause. You want to be able to take out the trash. We're going to come back to this in a few minutes, but go down to the comments and let me know, in the months that you're dealing with more constipation, does your weight go up? Let me know if that's happening with you. So an accumulation of fecal matter could cause you to gain weight just by having a whole bunch of poop in the system. I mean, that makes sense. I'm not making any kind of groundbreaking information there. But what I want to share with you now are a few reasons that even beyond the constipation itself, we want to look at the fact that some of the underlying causes for constipation can also cause the body to gain weight for totally different reasons. These ones might freak you out a little bit. First of all, let's talk about low stomach acid levels. This is one of the most common underlying causes for chronic constipation. And low stomach acid is really common. A lot of people are on acid reflux medications that basically turn off that stomach acid. But even beyond that, a lot of people don't make enough stomach acid for a wide variety of reasons. One of the major reasons is they don't have enough resources or enough minerals in the system for the body to make that hydrochloric acid that makes that acid in the stomach. So this can be a really big problem. The reason that this causes chronic constipation is because a lot of people don't know that our stool moves at a pace according to its pH level. So a stool that's leaning a little more acidic will move fast through the system because the system doesn't want that acidic stool to burn up the intestinal tract. So it's like, let's get this out of here. But a stool that is leaning too alkaline and not acidic enough, usually because there was not enough stomach acid to start acidifying that food, it'll move a lot slower through the system and can lead to constipation. So this is an underlying cause of constipation that's very common. Now, beyond the constipation itself creating weight gain, low stomach acid can create weight gain for totally different reasons. When there isn't enough stomach acid, we don't have the ability to break down our food correctly. Now, we don't eat food just to give the body food. The body can't do anything with food. It doesn't know what to do with a peanut butter sandwich. You need to break that food down into vitamins and minerals and amino acids and fats, all those building blocks and nutrients and fuel sources that the body can use. So we have to be able to break that food down. Now, if we don't have enough stomach acid to break the food down, we're not going to be able to access all the nutrients in the food we're eating. We're not going to be able to pull all the minerals out of the food that we're eating. And our bodies need a lot of minerals for all types of functions. So when we don't have enough minerals, a lot of times the body will want to use glucose as sort of like a buffer. It kind of says, hey, we don't have enough minerals, but I can use a higher level of glucose to kind of fill in the holes that I'm missing here. I can do some of these functions with glucose if I'm missing a lot of mineral substance. So what happens is the body wants more glucose in there to make up for these low minerals. So the person will often start gravitating towards eating more carbs or sugar or even junk. Or if mineral levels are really low, they could experience crazy insane cravings. Like, oh, I didn't even notice that I'm knee deep in a bucket of Nutter Butters. How did I even start doing this? I don't even know what happened. So the cravings can be quite intense and not to the point where willpower is going to win. You can't over willpower a significant craving when the body is kind of looking for something to fill a need or to fill a hole that is there that is substantial. So when we start to crave all these carbs and sugars and junk, a lot of times we eat it. And when we're eating those things on a consistent basis, we're raising our insulin levels because the insulin helps sweep that glucose out of the bloodstream and into the cells so we can use it. But when we're keeping that insulin level high all the time, it kind of teaches the body to store more fat. And it also blocks the body from accessing stored fat and using it for fuel. The insulin being high tells the body, hey, we got lots of glucose. We're using that right now. So you can take this fat and just store this for later in case we need it. And no, don't burn any stored fat. I definitely don't want to burn any fat because I got all this glucose going on. So this is a really big way that a lack of stomach acid can lead to weight gain. And it's significant and it's very common. The next common underlying cause for constipation is an imbalance that can occur at the cellular level called an anabolic imbalance. Now, in our Understanding Constipation video, we dig into this a little bit deeper, but the short answer is this. In the daytime, our cells are in a more catabolic state, and this is when they're better at creating energy and breaking tissues down and doing all those things that we want to do during the day. And then at night, at the cellular level, we move into what's called an anabolic state. And this is where we rest and we sleep and the body does all of its rebuilding and repairing processes. So both of these states are very important and you can see they're both beneficial. But what happens is for a wide variety of reasons, some people will get stuck leaning too far in one state or they'll stay in one state most of the time and not move back into the other one. So this can be a problem with constipation because in a catabolic state, the body sends most of our water to the bowels. And then in an anabolic state, at night when we're supposed to be there, the body will send most of our water through the kidneys. So according to which state we're in, that can dictate where the body is sending most of our water. Now, if a person is stuck in this anabolic state most of the time, then most of the water is going through the kidneys and not enough is going to the bowels. So the stool can get hard and it can get dry and it can be harder to move through the system and we get really constipated. So this is a very common cause for chronic constipation. Now, this can be a problem for weight gain because, that catabolic state is important. It's important that we break tissues down and that the body removes dead cells and gets rid of, tissue that is old and needs to be rebuilt and repaired so it's stronger and new. All of those things are really crucial. And if someone is stuck in an anabolic state most of the time, they're basically holding on to a lot of junk at the cellular level. We really want to move into that catabolic state so we can basically clean the system out and make it ready to be rebuilt and renewed. So if you're stuck in this state, basically you can kind of be holding on to a lot of junk that should be leaving. It should be going out of the body instead of being held onto. We find that a lot of these people will hold on to some extra weight, and when they can correct this imbalance, then they drop that weight. So you can see that the weight would not necessarily come from the actual constipation itself. It's more about the underlying cause of the constipation having another factor on top of it that can make even more weight gain happen. It's really kind of crazy. Now, to figure out if you might be leaning too far on this anabolic side, it is pretty easy to do. You can even do it at home. We'll put a link in the description below for our free 4-week digestion course that'll walk you through that process. It'll help you understand how to figure out, am I leaning too far on the anabolic side? And if I am, steps you can take to correct that. So if you're finding this information helpful, be sure to click on the like and subscribe button. That tells YouTube to show this video to more people, and that can help more people find answers that they're looking for as well. Now, the final factor I want to talk about here is a possible overwhelmed liver. And this goes back to an inability for the body to take out the trash. We're not pooping, we're not taking out the trash. That can be a real problem. I mean, what would your house look like if you didn't take out the trash? That's probably not ideal. So you can understand that this is what the inside of your body looks like when you're not pooping, when you're not taking out the trash. Now, what the liver does is its job is to filter out junk and toxins and waste and filter it out of the body. So it takes these toxins and this junk and it puts it in the bile. The liver makes our bile, and the bile is stored in the gallbladder. And then when the food we eat gets acidified in the stomach and it leaves the stomach, then this bile comes down and meets with that acid food product leaving the stomach, and it neutralizes it and it helps it digest better and helps it break it down better. And then that all moves through the system as we assimilate those nutrients, and then it moves out the back door. So these toxins and everything that the liver put into the bile end up going out the back door. That's how we take out the trash. Yay, the trash went out. But if the trash isn't going out, some of that junk can get reabsorbed back into the system. And then the liver's filtering out again. It's like, hey, I did this already. Why are you giving me this? I already did this. And eventually it becomes too much of a toxic environment for the liver to deal with. It's basically overwhelming the liver, and the liver can't do its job. Now, when too many of these toxins accumulate, some of them can be shoved into a fat cell and stored in fat cells. Now, not all types of toxins can be stored in fat cells, but basically the body does this to kind of keep the system clean. By taking a toxin and shoving it into a fat cell, it becomes inert. It doesn't cause problems because it's safe in that fat cell. So the body is taking care of you. It's just making it to where your pants don't fit anymore. So you'd probably rather not have that, but the body really is kind of saving you from a lot more trouble. But we still don't want this to happen. We want the toxins to go out of the body. But you can see that when the liver gets overwhelmed and it can't do the job that it's supposed to do, that the body has to use a backup system. And the backup system is shove it in a fat cell, and the pants get expanded, and now we got to get a bigger belt. Now, I get some of this information was likely new or even confusing to you, so we'll put the link below to our free 4-week digestion course so you can go through that. It'll kind of walk you through the process of figuring out the underlying causes that are problematic for you, and then steps that you can take to improve those. Now, your next step is to watch our Understanding Constipation video, because that'll kind of help you understand how these underlying causes work for constipation. In order to stop any of these 4 causes of weight gain, you have to fix the constipation. And to do that, you really need to understand the underlying cause of your constipation. So watch that video to understand kind of what's going on, and then just go through the course, and you'll be able to figure out the answers and the solutions that are right for you and your unique physiology. I can't wait to hear about your results.